Okay, so the last few days I've been sharing with you some of the things I heard and learned about in Mexico, and especially bringing in the whole thing of ethical conduct and how our actions influence others, and using these kinds of things as examples. So I want to do that again today with another thing. Because I've been going to Mexico almost every year for about 20 years. And in the recent years, the people have been talking a lot about what they call the Narcos, all the drug traffickers and the cartels that are there. And each year I can see it's getting worse by what the people talk to me and what they tell me. And they themselves say it's getting worse. So, part of it is just the warfare that's going on there, right in the middle of cities in broad daylight, with people shooting each other. Part of it is, the whole thing that they're having all that problem is because of what's going on in the U.S. Why are they having the drug smuggling and the drug cartels? It's because of the drug use in the U.S. And the guns that are being used in Mexico for the people to shoot each other are coming from the U.S. Some of them are taken illegally across the border, and some of them are sold legally to someone in the U.S. who takes them across the border. And some of them are, what's the name of the ATF, or is that it? Yeah. That they have had a scheme now, and they sold 2,000 AK-47s to people in Mexico with the idea that then they would trace who got them and they would know where the guns were being used. Our government sold weapons there. And there was a few weeks ago a U.S. border guard killed, and it was by one of these AK-47s that was from our government. So, this is not good. So, so this is the whole thing about ethical conduct. I mean, if you sell weapons, you are condoning what the people do with those weapons in some way, because weapons are for killing people. That's it. So it seems to me that there's some kind of karmic repercussion to the person who, or group who's selling the weapons, as well as the people who are using them. But what also it's, showing is that our drug consumption in this country is tearing apart Mexico, and the people who are consuming the drugs here don't think of the effect of their actions on other people. It's like you take the drugs, okay, so you get loaded and whatever, you feel good for a while. Maybe you trash your whole life. I mean, we just got an email from Susan Waters. Her daughter had a drug OD, asking us to pray for her and her family. So people may ruin their own lives through the drugs. Yeah. But then the thing is that because of the drug use here, the effect it's having on a whole country. Yeah. And not thinking, thinking when you use drugs, not thinking beyond one's own personal situation. Not thinking, how does it affect my family, how does it affect society, but really seeing what's happening in Mexico, because it's horrible, and the people are really having a lot of fear because the narcos are controlling the country, basically, and the government's in cahoots with the narcos, even though the government's saying that they're taking them out. Okay, so what I'm coming back to again here is the whole importance of ethical conduct, and the whole basis of ethical conduct is not harmfulness, and it's based on thinking, how do my actions influence not only me right now, but how do they influence the people around me? How do they influence with the ripple effect along time, you know, other people on the planet, and how do they influence what's going to happen to me in my future life, karmically. Yeah? So this whole process of seeing the interdependent nature of things and not seeing like little clips of life, you know, oh, my drug makes me feel good, or my, you know, we were talking yesterday about the financial people, you know, my little, you know, scheme gets me rich right away. You know, not seeing that little square of how it affects me right now, but really the big interdependent view of my actions affect so many people that I don't even know. And if I'm saying that I care about the planet, and I'm saying that I care about other people, then I need to look at my actions and restrain the ones that are damaging to the planet and to other people. And that's part of the ethical conduct, and it's part of, you know, understanding dependent arising and interdependence. And it's also part of our practice of compassion for ourselves and for the people around us. Yeah? So I think we need to really bear this in mind, you know. I was remembering my generation of people who took drugs, you know, had a lot of, you know, talking about the illegality of the war and, you know, you know, the military-industrial complex, you know, being without ethics. But we were totally oblivious to the repercussions of our drug use on other countries and on other people. You know, and yet having some kind of you know, concern with the ethics of the establishment. And it's always easier to observe everybody else's ethical discipline than to look at our own, isn't it? Yeah, but I mean, this is what we're coming around to as practitioners: is a big mind that encompasses all of this. Okay, so I think we should make some dedication prayers for the people in Mexico, seeing that their country is being torn apart, independent upon what our government and our citizens are doing here. Okay. I'm not saying that America's the only thing that's causing it. Surely there's other causes and conditions, but it's a big chunk.